Remember a few weeks ago when it seemed like for RFK Racing, the world was just falling apart. The sky was falling, Chicken Little, all that stuff, because Ryan Preece got a disqualification after finishing second. Brad Keselowski couldn't get a top 10 to save his life. Chris Buescher got a massive penalty after Kansas a year after the photo finish that he lost. Well, since then, Ryan Preece currently holds a playoff spot. Brad Keselowski, not only did he get a top 10, he got a top 5, and that massive penalty for Chris Buescher has been reduced. So, things are turning around for RFK. Not that, they weren't like last in points or anything, but as I listed there, they had a rough couple of weeks there. Anywho, on Wednesday, the National Motorsports Appeals Panel amended the L1 level penalty issued to the number 17 RFK Racing team and driver Chris Buescher on May 15th after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Kansas. Upon hearing the testimony, 3 members of the NMAP ruled that the number 17 team violated one or more, but not all, of the rules from the initial penalty. The team violated 14.5.4, which regards to the front bumper cover, but they did not violate 14.1.2, which is in regards to the exhaust cover panel. Therefore, the panel amended the original penalty assessed by NASCAR to include a loss of 30 championship driver and team owner points. It was initially a 60-point loss. A loss of 5 driver and team owner playoff points, a 2-race suspension for the crew chief, and a $75,000 fine for the team. In reaching its decision, the panel provided the following explanation. The panel concluded that NASCAR met its burden of proof regarding the reinforcement of the front bumper cover, but did not meet it regarding the trimming of the exhaust panel cover. The rulebook regarding the exhaust panel trimming lacked specificity on the amount trimmed or not trimmed. Accordingly, the panel reduced the owner and driver penalty points from 60 to 30 points. The 3-member panel was comprised of Tom DeLoach, Kerry Tharrington, and Kevin Whitaker. RFK Racing statement says, "We appreciate the opportunity to present our case to the National Motorsports Appeals Panel today, and we are pleased that the panel overturned one of the 2 assessed penalties. Our goal is to always comply fully with the letter of the NASCAR rulebook, and our focus is now looking forward to competing for a win in Nashville this weekend." So, it's a massive swing for RFK, the 17 team specifically. This did not kill their season, but it put them in a difficult spot because Chris Buescher was in the playoffs by 20 or 30 points. And then after this penalty got handed out, at the time, he was suddenly 25 or so points below the cutoff line, which it was like 15 races to go in the regular season at that point. That's not an impossible task, but every point matters. You need every point you can get because as Chris Buescher witnessed last year, it's only a few points that can be the difference between making the playoffs and not. So, the fact that they got 30 points back is a really big deal for them because, as I said, last year that was the difference between them making the playoffs or not. So, 30 points, getting 30 points back is a big deal. The only thing that stays the same is the loss of playoff points. So, let's say they point their way into the playoffs, but they don't win a race and they don't win any stages. They would essentially start the playoffs with -5 points. They would start with 1,995 points versus 2,000 points. So they would need a race win and a stage win to start in the positive. Crew Chief Scott Graves has already served his 2-race suspension at North Wilkesboro in the Coca-Cola 600. RFK, when they made their appeal, they opted not to defer the suspension. So they ate it up and, well, it was going to be upheld. So it's already over. Scott Graves will be back at Nashville this week. But big news for the number 17 team. They are only 6 positions out. 6 points. 6 positions. 6 points out of the playoffs behind teammate Ryan Preece. So, once again, they were not in a terrible position. It's not like they were 80 points out, have to win a race. It's over if you don't win a race. But it put them in a tougher position. So, Chris Buescher back... I hate to say back in the playoff hunt because he was still in it, but they're in a better position. So Chris Buescher, only 6 points out of the playoffs. The RFK hits, they don't keep coming. In fact, they're going the opposite way. They're getting points back. Brad Keselowski scored a top 5 last week. Ryan Preece is in the playoffs. Things are going well for him, so we'll see how this ends up going in terms of the rest of the season. But Nashville this upcoming weekend should be a fun race. Got videos for that, obviously. Anything else, any other news, I will let you know. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.